Hello, my friends, and welcome to another pick a card reading. Thank you so much for being here. I really do hope you're all doing well. And I'm pleased to say that this is another collaboration with the amazing Helen from Eye of the Serpent Tarot, where we're taking pairs from the Major Arcana and we're exploring what messages that they have for you. So I will be looking at the Lovers and Helen will be looking at the Devil. Now, in the respect of looking at the Lovers, it's not just about the idea of lovers. It's about the choices that we make and how we decide and how those decisions kind of shape our future. It is the choices that we make that essentially shape who we are. So this is very much about how we make those choices. And what I want to get from the Lovers is kind of some advice in terms of your own personal situation, on which choices to make or to take even. So what I'll be doing is I'll be looking at the choices that you do have within the situation, and then we'll be looking at what would be the options if you were to go one way or the other, and then you can decide. There is no kind of ultimate decision in the respect of what you decide to go with, because there is always free will in the respect of these things. But we're just showing you options. And that for me is essentially what the tarot is. It's about showing you a timeline or different timelines, and it's up to you whether or not you take them or not, because that's about human free will. With Helen's reading, the Devil is about freeing yourself from being able to make the choice. So you can watch whichever reading that you wish first. It's up to you. But I think it would be nice, or maybe try reading Helen's first, or watching Helen's reading first, to see what it is exactly that you need to free yourself from in order to make the right choice, and then come to this reading in order to see what your options are going forward. And that would be my advice. But obviously, it's you do you see how it is. But obviously you can go to more than one reading, but you have three options here. You have the Lovers from the Wild Unknown Tarot, pile 1. Pile 2 is the Lovers from the Luminox Tarot. Pile 3 is the Lovers from the from the White Fly Tarot. So you've got pile 1, Wild Unknown, pile 2, Luminox, pile 3, White Fly. So timestamps will be in the description box below, my friends. I really hope you enjoy the reading, and I'll see you there. Bye. Hi, pile 1. Welcome to your reading. So you chose this beautiful Lovers card with these two geese kind of going off together. So there's something about you wanting to make a decision that's really kind of congruent with your direction. So it's almost like you're deciding whether or not to go in a certain direction, and there may be a choice of either going with someone or going in your own direction, on your own. But there's something about you making a choice to go off somewhere or to do something in that respect. I know that's really general, but it's almost like there's also a decision with if that person is going and giving you say maybe some kind of ultimatum and saying I'm going away on holiday and doing this, or I'm going away traveling for a year or something like that, or I'm doing this, it seems like this is the option that's going on. But it also could be that somebody maybe I'm going to invest some money in this startup and I'm going to do this. You've only got this time to do this now. If you don't do it now, then you might lose out on your chance on doing it. So there's something about you getting on the bus or getting on the ride in order to make the best out of this decision. So let's have a look more into it with your oracle cards. Wow. So we've got love reversed. Sorry, I'm just laughing because I just think it's ironic. We've got the sun reversed. We've got I respect the property of others. Interesting. And then we've got happiness reversed. Wow. Okay. I mean, what I'm getting immediately is that it's almost like a choice between yourself and someone else. And I don't know, there may be something about you doing something because you might want to make someone else happy. It's really interesting. Let me have a look more with the tarot. What choice is it that what choices does pile 1 have, and what choices do they need to make? What choices do pile 1 have? And what choices do pile 1 have at the moment? What choices do pile 1 have at the moment? What choices do pile 1 have at the moment? Okay, so we've got the Ace of Pentacles, the Daughter of Swords, which is the Page of Swords. We've got the 8 of Swords here. We've got the Ace of Cups. I think I see what's going on here. And then the 3 of Pentacles. Okay, so we've got, like, I think there's something about the head and the heart here. Like, do you do what you love, or do you do what you believe that you should do? And you know, it's really interesting, this whole idea of the shoulda, woulda, couldas, or the shoulds that we have in our lives. And I don't know, like, something is saying to me that even if you were to go for like the kind of economic route here, it still wouldn't be as prosperous as the Ace of Cups, as the emotional kind of tie to this. Because I don't know, I think there might be a love for 2 things here. And there's something really interesting as well that I would say, like, in the respect of making the choice, think about your internal guidance system and about which way that your internal guidance system is telling you. Now, the internal guidance system is that innate being that we have, innate thing that we have within ourselves that tells us whether we're doing something right or whether we're doing something wrong. And this is absolutely different for everybody. It is not specific. So it says about how people are. You know, say for example, if I was to do a certain something that I don't feel right doing, I would feel maybe a knot in my stomach. But then if I was doing something that I felt was really amazing and I loved it, I would feel lightness. There's a saying that I learned when I was in mediumship school. It was really like Hogwarts. If it's light, it's right. And there's a bit of heaviness here. Well, not a bit, actually. There's quite a bit of heaviness here, particularly with the sun reversed. Because it's almost like, and happiness. Love and happiness are both reversed. I'll just read this. Happiness, I'm aware of being happy, means that I'm on the right path. Yeah, there's definitely this sense of like doing what I think I should do and doing what I want to do. Here. It feels like that. A lot. If that doesn't resonate, this might not be your reading, but it's almost like there's a pleasing here. And I also feel that the sense of being trapped in this situation is very much of your own way of thinking. And I'll be honest with you, the only person that's going to regret making the wrong decision is you. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be like the other person or whoever else is involved, because I don't even think that they really know about what the wrong decision is. And I'll be honest with you, I think you can make it work, like, either way. You can make it work, but there's something that will be really grounding if you go with the decision that makes you feel the best. You'll be able to like overcome some things, but there's this kind of like prison of your own mind. And it's really interesting that I use this deck, because this 8 of Swords is kind of, you know, these 7 of Swords, and you've got 7 swords here. So 7 swords are stopping this pupae from starting to break out, which it is just about to. So it's almost like the lies that we tell ourselves in order to keep us within this kind of stage. I don't know, it seems to me like there may be something that you're telling yourself, that you're saying that isn't the right kind of thing to do. I don't know what the decision is. It could be to do with love. It could be to do with money. I think personally, it's to do with you achieving something of your own, kind of like a dream or something. And somebody's come with something. Also, it might be involving somebody as well. It might be. In the respect of like love, I think. Or maybe even a friend. But it's like something, and you may think like you might not have enough money to like deal with it either. But actually, you will have the money. Like, in fact, I think that if you're worried about money, don't worry about that. Really, really don't worry about it. It's more about, because you'll be able to build a foundation based on like what you feel that your heart's true desire is. Like you'll be able to make it work. Whatever kind of like thing that you've got in your head about you not being able to like do stuff is kind of like it's just a fabrication in the mind. It's because you can't see the initial kind of how it's going to come about. You don't know, and there's no kind of easy way of seeing that either. But it's almost like a leap of faith that needs to be taken here, pile 1. You need to take a leap of faith. Page of Pentacles. Yeah, you really do. You know what's really interesting? There's Helen, who I'm doing this collab with. She always says the Page of Pentacles is a business plan. I would say that because like you've got the Ace of Pentacles here reversed. So if you've got no kind of like, you can't see anything that's going to like kind of manifest, or you can't see something that's going to help you make a decision, write out some kind of plan. As if you were going to like, say for example, you can write out the plan for both options and then really work them out, write them down, like write the options down for both sides and see how that kind of pans out, because I think that will really help you to kind of stabilize things. Judgment. I think you've been sitting on this for a while. Judgment reversed, and now the time is, time is running out. Because particularly with that Daughter of Swords, it's almost like you've been ignoring it. And then now it's gotten to a point where you have to actually make the decision. Because if you don't, then, face the fact that you have this choice to make, And I don't know, it'd be so interesting what Helen's reading will say for you. Because like how you can get to this point of you being able to understand that you've got these things that you need to make a decision about. But if you're in a position where you can't make it because of like what's going on with what the devil is like gonna what is holding you back with the devil kind of aspects, that might be what holds you back here. Sorry if you can hear some banging outside. Somebody's releasing fireworks in the middle of the day, because that's what people do in East London. Anyway, interesting. Look at that, lovers and lovers. Love that. So we've got, yeah. I think it's, you've got to make a choice. And I'm laughing because it's just, oh God. It's just tough. It's tough. And it is scientifically proven that we only have like a certain amount of decision-making juice a day. And we really do. So if you find it easier to make decisions in the morning, that's an honest thing after you've had a good night's sleep. So I would say like just be kind of like mindful of the fact that when it's easier for you to make decisions and being able to like make a choice, respect that about yourself. But there is something here that is on your side if you decide to make the right choice. If you decide to make the right choice, there is benefit in you deciding, basically. I think it's time for you to make the choice. Two of Swords. Well, no wonder it's difficult. Two of Swords is the ultimate so difficult. I think you're still like kind of waiting. You're still waiting. And it's okay. If you need to take your time, take your time. But you will need to make a decision. There is a choice that needs to be made here. And it actually is going to benefit you a lot more than you realise. Wow, and then the King of Swords reversed. I think there's a big fear of like destabilisation. And I really do think it's because you don't know what's going on, or you don't see what's happening. Wow, we've got the Emperor. I'm telling you, like, I think in order to create some kind of sense of stability, it's going to be really important for you to do this plan. You've got to start like with what you've got, rather than thinking about something externally and thinking about that you haven't got. Start with what you have, you know what I mean? Okay, so yeah, let's go with the angel first. Wow, Christiel. So that's like kind of Christ consciousness energy. So that's about, I would say, elevate yourself to a higher sense of knowing that there is a lot more for you than what's within your current paradigm, and understanding that you're going to have to think of a different way if you're gonna do something different. You can't do the same thing. So you can't get this. If you want something different, you're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to think in another kind of paradigm or a way, so that you can kind of get what you want and need. Spirit essence. Taking some time to really connect with yourself. And I think as much as you respect the property of others, what about the property of yourself, the intellectual property of yourself? I think it's really important to kind of like look at that and kind of see what's happening in the respect of you being able to honor that sense of yourself, because I think there's been some compromising here. So, okay, wow. Test, that's a really interesting card. So limiting beliefs, patriarchy, mental boundaries, and pass the exam. So we've got like this kind of like half decayed being here, but then we've got, can you see there's this kind of like, he's dressed in this kind of like priest's outfit. It's it's quite scary, isn't it? I'm sorry about that. So like, I think what's going on here is, I think that this is about limiting beliefs. Like, this is about how, that's really interesting actually, because look, you've got that kind of like I and then I. So there's something about the limiting beliefs, about how you really think about others, and how that, you know, kind of this kind of doctrine or ideal that you're placing upon yourself that helps you to kind of that makes you kind of feel limited. I'm going to cover that because that's a bit gruesome. So but yeah, I think in the respect of, I think there's also a bit of pressure that you may be putting on yourself as well. Wow, okay, now that's a bit weird. That's a bit weird, because we've got like kind of this skull kind of feature. So with this here, what if just because you can doesn't mean you should? And that's officious. What if just because you can doesn't mean you should? What because if you can doesn't mean you should? I mean, I'll be honest, part one, like what I'm thinking here is that there's a distinct choice that you need to kind of look at, whether or not, you know, whether or not your heart is really speaking to you, and what is it that your heart's saying, and what's making you happy. Because I don't know, I just feel like there's this thing where I think there's this battle, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is the very question. Like, it's like, what if just because you can doesn't mean you should? It's like almost like you're feeling like, oh yeah, I want to do this and I can do this, but how can I do that when I've got other commitments, when I'm doing something else? I can honestly feel the confusion between the two choices here with this card. Let me pull another one, because I'm a bit like, I feel like I need like some other kind of resolution here. I'll be with you in a second. Okay, so I've decided to just pull one of the lifestyle heart code oracles for you. Okay, you've got 2 here. Wow, so you've got foundation and then you've also got borrowed beliefs. So what I'm getting from that is that, so that's definitely cleared that up. Look, 24 and 12, how interesting. So, wow, 24, 12, 24, 36. That's 3 multiples of 12. Interesting. Okay, right. So what that means is that in order for you to create and move on and for you to do something with what you're doing, you have to really assess what is the foundation of your current beliefs and what is yours and what isn't yours. And how do you raise yourself up to a higher place that you actually get in touch with that personal sense of self and that sense of that internal guidance system that's going to be able to guide you appropriately. And when you listen to that internal guidance system, it's about you really understanding what is fear and what's actually saying no. You know, that's also a really big thing. You know, ask yourself several times, for example, like if you're scared of something, don't immediately go away from it. Try and question it and try and like have a look at different things, but don't like quash it. There's a way of being able to like navigate that. And the only way that you do that is by connecting with this spirit essence that's here and being able to kind of like work through that. But yeah, and this is quite intimidating. It's also number 24 as well. Interesting. I think this is quite intimidating. I don't know about you, but I find it quite like intimidating. But it's interesting because part of the jaw is missing as well. So that means it's archaic and it's old, and it's how do you work through this system? How do you work through that? How do you understand like what your limiting beliefs are? Borrowed beliefs, we got that, and it's the same number. Pass the exam. How do we think about the things that like we're supposed to be doing, right? Mental boundaries, which is what I mentioned before. So it's very interesting. It's quite intense actually. But yeah, very interesting, very interesting. But this is what I have for you, part 1. I hope you found that useful. Please do let me know in the comments below what you thought. And if you like this, please do go and watch Helen's reading if you haven't done so already. But otherwise, my darlings, really good to have you here. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. And remember, take care, and that honesty is always key. Bye. Hi, Pal 2. Welcome to your reading. So you chose this card from the Luminox Tarot, which is such a beautiful lover's card. And it's almost like seeing the direction that you have to go in. But it's almost like, is that the right thing? Is that where I want to go? It's almost like you can see where you want to go, but it's how do I like have the courage to kind of step over and be there in that space? How can this figure be with that figure in the respect of like being in that position, looking towards that light? That's what I see with this lovers. It's almost like how do I make that choice to take that step? Because this is, I think, is where I want to go. This is where I want to be. But how do I take that step? Really interesting. Okay, let's see what your oracle cards have to say. So we've got caution, okay, and it's reversed. We've got waning crescent. We've got I live in truth. Really interesting version of that card as well. And then we've got failure reversed, which it says here, I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. So I think you're worried. You're worried about making the right decision here. Whether or not it's going to be the right thing to do. And if there's a sense of you being kind of like lacking, like if you take this decision, then you're not going to be able to, you're thinking if you're throwing caution to the wind. That's kind of what I get from this. It's almost like, how do I, should I be more cautious in doing this, or should I take the choice? Should I just go for it? And you're trying to be kind of balanced in the way that you're approaching this. But there's something about this release of control. And I do think that that's more about your own sense, because I don't think it's really as hard as you think it is. I think it's a lot easier than you think it is. Okay, let's have a look at what the cards have to say. Bear with me, my friends. Okay, so let's have a look. Wow. Okay, so we've got the Nine of Cups. We've also got the High Priestess here. The Hierophant reversed. The Eight of Pentacles. Okay, I'll take 6. Lucky things, pile 2. Right, okay, so... No, I can't, sorry. Sorry, I can't do it. There was a sneaky little one there. I had to stop that. So let me just go with these first initially. I feel like I need to assess these. I feel like your heart is it's quite a difficult decision for you to make. Not to say that the other pals don't have it hard, but this is a really kind of gut-wrenching decision between what you want and what... It's almost like you want something, but it's almost like you want both choices really badly. And either way, you're going to feel like you missed out, and you're going to feel like you didn't want. Or this is something that you really wanted, and you didn't get it before, but now you've got an opportunity to be able to get it. And I think you have to throw caution to the wind, and you also have to understand that even in whatever choice that you make, there is no failure. There's no failure. You're okay with what you've decided to go with, but you have to surrender to it, and you have to commit to it, I think. I also think that you've spent a lot of time in contemplation and being able to understand what is the truth of the choice that you're going to make. With judgment being... Is that judgment? Yeah. With judgment being reversed, you're still not able to make the call. You still feel like there's some work to be done, and there possibly is. There possibly is. Let's have a little look. These ones, they do jump out, but... Okay, the Empress reversed. Interesting. So High Priestess, Empress reversed. Yeah, you're still in that stage of where you're trying to decide something, what's the options, as opposed to and it's almost like you're more comfortable in the space of deciding rather than actually taking action. Because the Empress is that sense of actual manifestation. But you are going to have to make a decision eventually about this. And there's only so much that you can work on something. You're just going to have to take a jump. You're just going to have to take a jump into the unknown. And I don't think it's the unknown, to be fair. But you feel it. You feel that it's unknown. What I'm seeing here is really interesting. You've got this kind of like black void, and then it almost looks like he's got to like jump over this section in order to get to her. So what I'm thinking is that there's this thing where you feel like you're, and even if you do fall, it doesn't look like it's going to be too bad anyway. Do you know what I mean? So I think that there's this kind of like feeling of where you have to surrender to the fact that you don't know what might happen, and you do just need to make the choice. Whatever it is. And I think you having faith in how hard you've worked and how hard you've kind of like come to this space to understand that about yourself and to understand that you can make this decision. I think that's really important. And being quite compassionate with oneself, But this is it. Surrender, release control of the universe, release it, let it go. Okay, let's have a look at what your clarifiers are. Nine of Cups. It's a deeply held wish though that you've had, and it just didn't come true. And I don't know, I feel like something's been kind of, you may be kind of losing faith, particularly like with 3 major arcana here out of 5. I just feel like there's a sense of like where you're thinking, I don't know if it's even going to happen, But I think you've worked hard enough to get to this point, and it's okay for you to make the decision for yourself, right? Wow, 2 of Cups reversed. Okay, this might be to do with the relationship for some of you. 3 of Pentacles, clarifying the High Priestess. The 8 of Pentacles reversed. Interesting. 8 of Pentacles. Okay, right. There's this thing where you don't feel like you've done enough work. I think maybe you could do like something else. But let's have a look. Okay, right, I see what's going on. Strength reversed. It's almost like, and the 4 of, no, that's the 6 of Swords. Yeah, this is past fears. I don't know, it could be to do with the maternal line, like in respect of like some patterning that may have come from the maternal line that makes you think that you need to get to a certain point in order for you to make a decision about something. But actually you don't. You're actually already there. And I don't know if that's kind of congruent within your relationships. Like it kind of may be something about the relationships that's kind of mirroring something of you not being able to make a decision because you're thinking that I need to work harder on this and I need to do more on this. And I don't know if there's some kind of comparison here as well. So I think what's interesting is that it's very important to live in the truth of the situation, meaning that if you are to be truthful about what exactly is going on here and looking at all the sides of it, is that really true? Is it really true that you're failing or that you need to be cautious? Is this really true? Or do you think that the reason why you're adopting those kind of like strategies towards making the decision is because maybe there's a lack of strength and you're feeling weak about something, and that maybe there's something that you're not able to move on from? I don't know. These are just questions that I'm just throwing at you in terms of like what you think that, what you think is an option, what you think is affecting your ability to make the decision that you need to in this particular situation. Now, I will say, like, I hope you've come with like some kind of like choice, because if you haven't, then this is not going to make any sense. But I think it's important to think like if this is about you making a decision between something that you really wanted this. It's almost like, yeah, there's something that you've really wanted, or that's been really wanted, and finally you've got it, and you're like, oh my God, I don't know whether or not I can have it or not now. I don't know whether or not I'm worthy enough to have it. I don't know whether or not I've got the kind of gravitas to take what I want. That's what it feels like. And there's some like key things that need to kind of like be worked through in order to like get through this again. Oh, well, this is really interesting. One of the other for part 1, the 6 of Swords is a very similar card. Actually, no, it's the 8 of Swords. But the 8 of Swords has this butterfly that's waiting to come out of the pupae, and it's exactly the same kind of butterfly. So it's interesting that you got it as well. Reversed. And in this respect, with the 6 of Swords, it would mean that you're actually moving beyond that point and being able to move into this space of the butterfly. With it reversed, it means that there's still this sense of being stuck in the same old pattern of, and it is indecision. We don't have the 2 of Swords, but I feel its energy. Okay, so let's have a look at your other oracle cards, pile 2. Melchizedek. Wow. So I think, if my memory serves me rightly, this Melchizedek is the one who's kind of like the master. He's kind of the it says that he's the grandfather of the archangels, keeper of the ascension pathway. He is the bridge between heaven and earth. So this is about ascending into what you are. Yeah, it's about you claiming your power, pile 2. It's about you understanding that what you've asked for, and that you're going to take it. Because sometimes, you know, we can wish so much for something, and then really when we don't get it, then sometimes, when we get it, then sometimes we kind of like shy away and think, oh no, is this what I really want? Is this what I really want to do? Is this really what I want? Sorry about that, my loves. But yeah, this is about you understanding that you are part of this. You know, you're allowed to get what you want. Pile 2. It's okay for you to have the things you ask for. It's all right for you to do that. You know, you have every right to happiness just as much as anybody else. And it's okay. It's okay. It might not be at the same time that other people like have had it, or that they, you know, maybe there's an expectation that you decided that you believe that it should have come to you at a certain time, and those are only expectations that have been placed upon yourself by yourself, you know. So, you know, it's okay. And then we have the Storm. Interesting. So with that, with the Storm card, it's almost like there's this sense of that you may feel that you're in some kind of storm, in not being able to kind of, you know, suddenly you have what you want, or, you know, the thing that you wanted, it's finally here, or that you kind of in this maelstrom of like understanding what it is that you really want for yourself. Remember, be this eye and this kind of like calm within the storm. And it's almost like if we take a moment to just kind of like stay and like look at what's going on, then we can actually start to see the eye, the center, and move from that space rather than kind of be lost within it. We've got 2 eyes here. That's really interesting. So pile 2, it's looking like there's something about looking within. And it's same here, like it says here about, I think it's here, don't know, there was something here about shine inward. So there's just something about going inward and looking, and I mean the tarot association with this card is the Hermit. So there's something about you looking inwards for the answers and really allowing yourself to hear the voice of yourself in order to really understand that. I just feel like there's a bit of unrest with you, pile 2. So take your time. Take your time. And then we have 28. My fear is, wow, face the nightmare, anxiety, creative block, heaviness. That's a really interesting card. So, I mean, what this kind of signifies is this sense of like sleep paralysis, you know, when something is on top of you. And that's often like what the fear can kind of like show up as, and that sense of heaviness. So I think it's important to recognize that you do have this kind of fear, or if you do, I don't know if you do, but if there is anything like that, recognizing it and understanding and facing it is going to be the first step in you being able to break through it. And then this card, which is Aquarius. Wow. So how can you fill anyone else's cup if yours is empty? That's very, very interesting. How can you fill your cup how can you fill everyone else's cup if your own is empty? And I'm just going to pull a heart code oracle for you. Yeah, it is a challenge. This is challenging. I'm not gonna lie, like this is really challenging. Even while feeling your reading, pile 2, like I'm feeling very Libra energy, even though I haven't got it here. But like Libra, bless my Libras. But there's a meme that I saw, and it's asking a Libra to make a decision. And it's one of the hardest things that might be. And I joke about it because I think it's very cute. But like it also is, I do also know the downside. Like it is sometimes very difficult. And it's quite like, it really is painful to watch someone who can't make a decision. There's a lot of purple energy here, pile 2 though. So there's something to me about the, sorry for how ski whiff this looks. But there's something to me about the crown chakra. So there's something about you being, something if you can clear your crown chakra or be able to connect to your crown chakra in order to like just stabilize your thoughts a bit, that might be really useful for you. But I do hope that helps, pile 2. That's all I have for you here. Please do check out Helen's reading if you haven't done so already. But otherwise, you take care. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. And I'll speak to you soon. And remember, honesty is always key. Bye. Hello, pile 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose this version of the Lovers, this beautiful Lovers from the White Fly Tarot. And there's something about almost like there's a desperation in the respect of making this choice. It's almost like you have to make this choice because it matters to you so deeply. And it's almost like no matter what, like externally happens, you may have to just make that choice. I wouldn't say so much as if it would be life or death, but the sensation I'm getting is similar to that. It's almost like it's a very dramatic, like the not to say that it doesn't matter, it's more to say that the actual intensity, like the stakes are high, you know, to you, yeah. And it's almost like putting things down and really like what is the real thing that matters here, you know? Is it my own ego, or is it the fact that I really want this thing, you know, or it's going to make other people happy, or it's going to be like a peace thing? Let's have a little look. We've got hunger, okay. And then we've got cardinal. Interesting. We've got I can be trusted, which is reversed, and then we've got I am forgiving, which is reversed. Both of these two are reversed, so that's very interesting. So on a random one, like this might be only a few of you, but if you're looking at a relationship or anything like that, this may be that, you know, you may be trying to trust someone. It doesn't necessarily even mean that like it doesn't have to be romantic, but it could be that, you know, it's trying to understand whether or not you can really trust someone again. And it's the choice of whether or not to trust them or not. Because there may be like this incentive to kind of go beyond that and really like kind of step out into something different and do something different. Because there may be like lashing out. Okay, so then we've got love here, which is reversed. And it says, I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. So this isn't just about love. I really don't think that this is just about romantic love. I think this is also about how love is within a situation. Whether or not you trust someone enough to like be able to be their friend again. Whether or not you trust someone or you can forgive yourself to be in a situation with a person again. There's something of that nature that's going on here. Okay, let's see what the cards have to say. I've missed working with the white fly. I really have. Oh, I do love this deck so much. I love them all. Like, I love this and the Luminox, but yeah, this deck is something special. Right, okay. Okay, so what are the choices? What are the choices that pile 3 has to make? What are the choices that pile 3 has to make? What are your options? Okay, so we've got the Sun. We've got the 9 of Swords. We've got the 2 of Swords. So 9 of Swords reversed, 2 of Swords reversed. The 10 of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles. Okay, interesting. Right. So the options that are here is really what is the ideal of stability compared to what is the true stability, or what people perceive to be stable. Because there's a kind of like fairy tale aspect here of what people are thinking, what people perceive that, and then there's also something that kind of like there's a genuine happiness that can be achieved here, but it's almost like there's a destabilization here. It may even be that it might be quite indulgent in the respect of what is going on. So in order to make that decision, it might seem a bit indulgent. So for example, it could be that family want you to do something and you want to do something different. Because I don't know, this aspect of the lovers is, it seems to me like we've got an angel and then we've got some, I don't know, it almost seems like there's 2 opposing forces here that are actually in love and they want to be together. Very Romeo and Juliet kind of vibe here. And whereas like the truth of the matter is that, you know, the external circumstances might be thinking of something different. It does also seem like there is some kind of material aspect to it, particularly with these 2 things here. So it might be to do with money. It could be like, and this is just it's interesting how we've got like a couple of circles going on here. But it might be to do with like the thing of like marrying for money or something like that, or making a decision. Like maybe you want to go and do something that's really going to ignite your heart. But maybe you don't know the reliability of this kind of like sense, but there's something kind of really, or this project or something that's kind of like pushing you towards this goal, but there's something that's igniting your hunger. And I don't know, I feel like with this card here, it kind of says to me that there's kind of an opposing force against what you want to do. But it's actually what really makes you happy. And there's 2 aspects here. I think it really worries you, but also there's a clarity here. There's a real clarity here. It's almost like you know what you don't want so much. Like so much. But taking the decision is a real challenge. Yeah, that's pretty tough. I would say, like, yeah, Helen's reading will definitely help in the respect of, like, understanding what, like what you need to free yourself from in order to, like, make this decision easier, you know? Because I think that once you gain clarity on where you stand, you'll be able to, like, make a decision a lot easier than you think you can. Queen of Wands reversed. I don't know, I get a sense of a bit of rebellion, pile too, like almost like that there's this sense of like not, you know, if you rebel against something, then it's actually made you feel really happy within that, but it's not sustainable long term. So there's something, I don't know, I just feel like you might have needed to be dishonest about something in order to like understand whether or not this is the option that you wanted. And now if you want to commit to it, then there's something saying that, you know, you're going to have to face the music about that. And it's like whether or not you can forgive yourself for actually going down the road of taking that decision, and whether or not like this actual road can be trusted. Does that make any sense? I hope it does. The scenario that I've got in my head is like, if you find out that you really want to be an artist, and you really want to do this, and you find that it's something that you're really hungry for and that you're really passionate for, and it's something that you really want to do, but then, you know, maybe family are saying that you don't, there's nothing really in it for you in terms of like a long-term stable career, and also it might not look good upon the family if you do that. But then it's actually maybe almost bursting out of you that you need to do this. And there's something very creative here. The Queen of Wands is very sexual, sensual, creative. And then we've also got the Sun. So it seems like this kind of like sense of rebellion that's going on here with this Queen of Wands reversed is almost like it really has made you happy. Whatever it is. And it might be, I don't know, I'm just getting the impression that maybe like you went off and you, like say just for example, like in the terms of the art thing, you went off and you did like some kind of like course, or like I've heard this with quite a few families where their families have like allowed them to do like say a degree in something, but then really they're making sure that they're going to go to medical school afterwards. And then what like maybe someone did is that they did like a degree in art, a fine art, but then their family were like, right, okay, you're going to go off and do medicine now as your masters or whatever. And like they're like, no, actually I really enjoyed what I was doing and I want to stick with the arts, you know, it's that kind of thing. So that's what I'm thinking here. Oh, there's two cards there. Wow, death. So we've got the Nine of Swords, death. Yeah, okay. I did think that actually. There was two kind of scenarios that I thought that with that Nine of Swords. But like I'm just thinking that I think you really understand that there has to be a part of you that needs to die in order for you to like make this decision with like full kind of congruency with what you really need to do. Eight of Cups. Two of Swords. I think there's that sense of you needing to go back to where you came from in order to like really close up the things as well. Close up the kind of like, you know, to kind of say, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I mean, like, even if, like, say, for example, it was in a relationship, it's like almost like this is the person who I'm going to go with, but like I need to go back and I need to like talk to my parents about it, that I've made this choice in choosing this person. Maybe it's somebody from a different, like, from a different kind of ethnic background, and then that's kind of like really, you know, you really want to, you need to like talk to, you know, that there's ends that need to be tied up like back at home kind of thing. You've also got the Four of, wow, okay, so yeah, there's going to be some attitudes that you're going to have to like face up against, and there may be some sense that you might not be able to change those attitudes. There's going to be something that you may have to take the decision anyway. Because with that Ten of Pentacles, I kind of feel that there's this like ideal, and like there will be a stability there, but it's whether or not that stability is going to be enough for you to kind of make the decision, because no decisions are ever made in comfort. I don't think people don't make decisions because they're comfortable. They make decisions because they are uncomfortable and they want to get into a state of comfort. So it's about you kind of like realizing that, you know, people might present you also with like certain like choices, and you're like, these aren't even my options. I don't know why you're offering that to me, but it's because other people have opinions about this as well. I do think there's going to be like a bit of fingers in pies here as well. Like people are going to try and influence your decision, particularly with that King of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles. Okay, and then we've got the Page of Cups. Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, if you're looking for sympathy in certain places, just be aware that you might not get it. People may not be accommodating to the fact that you want to make this decision, I think. And I think what's going to happen is that, or what might happen, is that you have the options. And I think, like, you might come to these people to think, oh yeah, this is something that I want to do. But honestly, I would be wary of expecting anything from these people that you might want support on. I don't see something very supportive here at all, to be honest with you, in the respect of like other people. This is about you making the decision, particularly with that Cardinal card as well. So it's about you taking the action and the initiative for yourself, and not about thinking about what other people think. It's quite tough reading. Sorry, pile 3, but it seems like it's pretty, I think it's pretty good, because it kind of allows you to kind of like realize that, no, it's going to be me and I trust my own resolve above this. It's not about, you know, and the people who want to support me, they'll come forward and they'll be there. And I think they will be, you know, they will be, but it'll be very strong. Like, it'll be very kind of like, there won't be any leeway. There won't be anybody who kind of like, I think there will be either or. There won't be any kind of middle ground in this. I chose that card, but I wanted to do that last, actually. Okay, so we've got some more cards. Let's have a look for you, pile 3. So, this is Barachiel. I need to like look up what she means, but it's really interesting. She's got like a basket of bread on her head. And then she's got a baby in her hands. And I think she's Aztec, because like I can see like that kind of pyramid behind her. Let me just have a look what it says. So the message here is, wow, lighten up when it particularly comes to homes, family and relationship. Laughter is the best medicine. Who better to share it with your nearest and dearest? Fulfillment. Bring lightness back into, put any difficult conversations or decisions aside for a while and enjoy family time with your loved ones. Okay, that's a little bit contradictory to what the cards are saying. So let me just think about that. So I think the values, I think it's important to remember the values of what your family are providing for you, if that is. So for example, if you're looking for, like, say, some kind of support from the people that you're, like, you know, you're like, okay, for example, you're coming out to your family, okay? Now, you know, that you're in a maybe same-sex relationship or something like that. And you're coming from a background that maybe are not that used to same-sex relationships. So it's almost like understanding what the paradigm is here that they're coming from in order to remember the goodness that they gave to you in the past. Because, you know, it seems to me like with this card, it's almost like saying, just remember the things that they did for you in the respect of, like, you know, in terms of like the care that they gave you. And I know that that's hard to hear. But I don't know, that's kind of what I'm thinking, particularly with 5. We've got Hierophant, and then we've also got 5, which is just like a really, is not the best of numbers. So like, well, it's challenging number. It's the middle number. So it's meaning like there's a sense of like kind of middle ground that needs to be here. So what I think Barachiel is saying here is there's a sense of you kind of understanding that there's this kind of, there's this meeting of the old sense of values and also coming in with new. So I don't know, from here I kind of get these kind of like old kind of world, like ancient worlds, but then you've also got this kind of modern religion with this kind of, I don't know, this South American pyramid here. And then you've got this bread and then the baby. So what I'm feeling here is this kind of amalgamation of both the worlds of values kind of colliding together. And how do you make them come together? how do people understand, you know, things about about what it is that how you're living your life and how you do that. And rather than coming in with like a sense of imposition, or like saying, this is how I'm living my life and this is how you've got to accept it, it's almost like saying, how do I bridge that gap between the two, so that things can be harmonious, so that we can actually get to some level of understanding. I know that's really difficult, because I've got experience of that myself, in the respect of like trying to make elders understand what it is that we really want to kind of, you know, put across in terms of who we are, because there's certain kind of expectations of us as people. But there's something here about Barachiel which, you know, remembering the beauty of family is going to be really important to you being able to kind of navigate this decision, you know. Yeah, let's go with this one, selfhood. Yeah, and I mean, you know, there's a way of being able to be resonant within oneself, so that you can actually just radiate your truth, but then also not be like imposing. And it's a delicate balance. It's not easy. I'm not saying that this is something that's really easy, but I think it's something that can really help you to kind of navigate a difficult situation. And we only learn from this, like, you know, it's an ongoing thing. It's not, you know, we don't learn it overnight. Yeah, I think this one. Wow, where do I fish? Oh, well, this card is interesting. Self-made person, intuition versus reality, irrationality, creative brain versus logical brain. So what this card, it means, where do I sit? Like, where do I sit? In the respect of, like, I have this intuitive brain, and then I also have this logical brain. How do I do it? And it's out of whack here. It's out of whack. So coming back to what I was saying about this sense of value system, Barachiel is trying to help you to, like, remember, like, the bread, you know, the nourishment that you get from both sides, and how do you bring them together? That's what this is about, and really trying to value yourself along this. This is quite difficult. I can see this. So do take some time with this. But the Lovers is trying to, like, help you in that respect, to, like, just remember the values that come from the family that have made you who you are. And then also we have Ursa Minor, which is the little bear. What if you could be the thing that you love the most about those who are gone? What if you could be the things you love the most about those who are gone? What if you could be the thing you loved the most about those who are gone? Now, I don't think that's just about people who've, like, passed on in that respect. I think that's also to do with people who have gone from your life. So the people that you've actually, like, learned from, like, past relationships and things like that. I don't think it's just to do with, like, people who are still alive. I think this is to do with, like, how do you like kind of get all of the things that you know, your experiences that have brought you to this moment, that allow you to kind of be able to make the decision, the best decision for yourself right now, in the best, most harmonious way. Because there's something quite fatalistic about that Lover's card, and it's like a do or die kind of thing. And I'm just like, you know, just chill out. That's what that's saying. It's saying, like, kind of just relax, you know, just relax a bit. No, you know, try not to make it about that. It reminds me very much of when I was a teenager, and when I was young, and, like, you know, if I didn't make this decision, it was going to, like, it was life or death, you know, being 14. And I took drastic measures when I was young, and yeah, it was interesting. So yeah, trying to be a bit more mature about it, right? Because we've got Minor here. Yeah. And then blame. Wow. So yeah, I think this is about higher ground, path 3. This is about you being able to make sure that you keep your vibration high, keep on the higher ground, and making sure that when you do make decisions, don't make it in any kind of anger. Make sure that you're quite, like, calm. And if you're not calm, go for a walk or something. Just calm down, because there may be a tendency to blame. And I'll be honest with you, you know, in today's society, we've got that on a consistent thing where we're just so careful about what we're wanting to say to people and what we're trying to do as well. You know, there's kind of like this loss of integrity, particularly that's something that came from like older generations, you know, in terms of like, you know, just being happy and living a good life. And that's what that's about. So I hope that made some sense, pile 3. Pretty deep. I wasn't anticipating that from the lovers, but it's really interesting. And I think, you know, I have confidence in you in making the right decision because you're just all amazing people. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe for more videos. But otherwise, my darlings, you take care. Have a beautiful day. And remember that honesty is always key. Oh, and by the way, do go and check out Helen's reading if you haven't done so already, because I'm sure it's definitely going to help here. Take care, my darlings. Speak to you soon. Bye.